Hi everybody, good morning. It's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, and it is time for another early morning book review. And I've got a whopper this time. I've got Nurse River's Secret. So I put out a little poll, a little questionnaire on Instagram, and then on my Instagram, Facebook, and then on my channel about which one I should read yet, and Nurse River's Secret was the one to read. Now, this will have a lot of spoilers because this was a very good book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was written in 1965. It is an old Harlequin, and let me tell you, it had some twists and turns. So the book's big secret is that Nurse Rivers is half-sister to a starlet, to a movie star. But I think the bigger secret is that she is stalked and harassed by a nun. Yes, that's right. Nuns on the run. So there's a character in there by the name of Sister Jeffries, Ruth Jeffries. And this takes place in England. And Sister Jeffries, every time they refer to Sister Jeffries, it's with a capital S. And I know that Anglican nuns can marry, so that's all I could think of was that she was an Anglican nun, I guess, because she is after the resident medical officer, Stephen. She is after Stephen. And Nurse Rivers is pretty. Obviously, she's very pretty, but Stephen is also interested in Nurse Rivers, and so that causes some problems. But let me tell you the story. So Nurse Rivers is the daughter, and then the father dies, and then the mother gets remarried, and they have a second daughter. And the second daughter is just beautiful and talented, and they put all of their resources into the second daughter, and her name is Dawn. And they put all of their resources into Dawn, and they live in England, and they decide to go to America, to go to Hollywood, where Dawn is a success. Dawn becomes a success. She becomes a movie star. But she is petulant and narcissistic and arrogant, and they want Nurse Rivers to go with them to England so that she can sort of be a maid to Dawn and kind of tend to Dawn and everything. I gotta get her first name. Oh, because they call her Rivers. Well, I guess Nina. Nina is her first name, Nina Rivers. Anyway, so Nina says, no, I want to go into nursing. And the stepfather, who's actually really super nice, is like, I get it. You don't want to be a maid to your sister your whole entire life. So go ahead and be a nurse, but we will miss you in America. So she goes off and she becomes a nurse, and she's a nurse in training at this hospital, which is called Rippergate General. No, not Rippergate. That's where Jack the Ripper is the head chief surgeon. It's Ripplegate. And she goes there and she gets involved with one of these young doctors, and his name is Anthony. It's not Anthony, it's Anthony. So she gets involved with Anthony, and Anthony keeps telling her that she doesn't need to continue with her nursing training because he's very wealthy and he's a doctor, and his wife is not going to work. He doesn't want his wife to work, so just stop the training. And she's like, no, I want to train. I want to become a full-fledged nurse. This is what I want to do. This is important to me. So they have that conflict. So then Dawn comes over to their neck of the woods in order to film like a medieval thing in a castle, and she falls down some stairs and she gets admitted to the hospital. And mother of Dawn and mother of Nina grabs Nina by the hair, not literally, but she says, don't you dare tell anyone that you are related to Dawn, because she thinks that nursing is just a horrible profession and it's lowest of low, and she doesn't want anyone knowing that she's related to Dawn. So that's the first secret. So then Anthony Remember the guy who's like gonna marry Nurse Rivers and tells her not to, worry about the rest of her training? He falls in love with Dawn. And Dawn is very excited to have this guy in love with her because she knows that he's practically engaged to Nurse Rivers. And so she's just thrilled because she has taken a boyfriend away from Nina. Well, Nina is, of course, very sad about this because she did care for Anthony. She thought that she could convince him that she would go ahead with her studies. But anyway, so in the meantime, this older guy, the resident medical officer, Stephen, has got his sights set on Nina. And so he starts taking her out to the beach and taking her out for coffee and everything like that. And they have such a nice time. But little do they know that Sister Jeffries is watching every move. And Sister Jeffries can make Nina's life a living hell, and she does. She does everything in her power. She's like, you're responsible for this wrong thing, and you're responsible for this wrong thing, and you're a horrible nurse, and you're everything like that. And she spies on the couple. She goes out, and she's a nun, I tell you. She spies on them, and she goes out and she sees them getting in the car together and everything like that. Well, there's this one scene that I thought was just incredibly cruel. So Stephen and Nurse Jeffries are having coffee, and Nurse Jeffries is confessing her love for Stephen. And Stephen is like, I just don't feel the same way about you. I just thank you. I'm very flattered, but I just don't feel the same way about you. And as he gets up, a picture of Nina and himself taken at the beach falls out of his jacket pocket. And so Nurse Jeffries holds it up and she's like, is this who you're interested in? Well, Stephen is trying to save her. He's trying to save Nina from Nurse Jeffries because he knows how hard. Now, first off, why not report Nurse Jeffries? Why not just report this kind of, harassment? He's the resident medical officer, but he's like a bigwig at the hospital. Why not report this? But he doesn't report it. Anyway, so what she does is she takes the picture up and she's like, is this who you're interested in? And he's like, no, that's not who I'm interested in. I just happened to be out for a walk and she was there and somebody took a picture of us and that's all it was. So Sister Jeffries, the nun, takes the picture and tears it up in front of him and says, well, then it doesn't mean anything to you, so I'm just going to destroy it. And then we have this big, long passage of how much Stephen, remember, the resident medical officer high up in the hospital, hates Nurse Jeffries, and how he had never felt such hate for anyone in his life, and how he had to get back to the hospital to warn Nina that Nurse Jeffries is on to them. It's just crazy. It was just this crazy ride. I enjoyed it immensely. I like the character development of Nina because once Nina, and I gotta tell you this part. So Nina is upset about Anthony getting stolen by Dawn. She's upset about that. But she's not too upset about that because she's like, well, at least I can continue my nursing and I don't have to have that fight. I'm so excited not to have that fight every frickin' day. So anyway, Dawn then throws over Anthony because she realizes it doesn't matter that much to Nina. And so Anthony goes to Nina Rivers and says, will you pretend to be my fiance again so that Dawn will fall in love with me again? And then she will want me again because then she'll know I'm taking her away from you. And she agrees. Nina's like, okay, sure, I'll do that. Sorry, my hair's wet from the shower. Oh my God. There were such huge relationship flags in all of this. And I loved every minute of it. It was more fun than a barrel of monkeys finding out what's going to happen next. So What happens in the end, Stephen and Nina get together, and Dawn and Anthony get together because Dawn is finally found out by the producer that she's just a pain in the neck. Probably not the neck is what he's thinking. He just thinks she's an absolute pain. And so he commandeers this other nurse there, this nurse Sally, who doesn't really want to be a nurse and everything like that, but she's real cute. And he decides to cast her in the part of Dawn. And so then Dawn then goes back to Anthony because he's very rich. And so she won't have to work. And that's what Anthony wants anyway. He wants a Dawn, and he wants someone who doesn't have to work. So it's all tied up in a neat little bow, except we never find out what evil Sister Jeffries. Oh no, yes, Sister Jeffries. I got all my names screwed up. Sister Jeffries is up to next. And all I could think of was that she was an Anglican nun. She had to be a nun. She had to be Sister Jeffries. So this nun is stalking this nurse and this doctor and going on spying on them. That's the secret. The secret was not, in my opinion, that she was half-sister to the starlet. The secret is this nun is crazed. It's a crazed nun situation. But it was fun. It was a fun book. I enjoyed it. My next one is going to be Beverly Gray, which was the next one up on the poll. And I'm excited about that. And anyway, oh, I forgot to say like and subscribe. I always forget to do that. Give me a like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. You know I love the comments. I hope this one wasn't too rushed for you. I hope I didn't confuse you with all the characters and everything like that. I'll make it a little linear. Nurse Rivers is a great book. If you can get your hands on it, it's a 1965 Harlequin, and it is a lot of fun, especially when you're reading it in 2024. So watch out for those nuns lurking around and spying on you when you're going on dates. Watch out for that. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic Friday, and I will check you later.